Hello there. My name's Andy, and I just wanted to do a little bit of a video to talk about some new gear that I had acquired and that I hadn't seen a lot of videos on YouTube talking about, and so I wanted to talk about them. Today I'll be talking about the Rivolta Mondata Baritone version 2 and a replacement bridge I got for it called the Tuffset Fixie. So let's talk about the Rivolta Mondata. So I'm a bass player, and I have a guitar, but primarily bass. And I was a little bit frustrated with guitar in that it just didn't kind of have enough room in terms of like finger spacing. And I thought I'd been in a band where another guitarist had a baritone, and it was always kind of interesting to me. So I was looking around, and I was looking at baritones. There don't seem to be a whole lot. There's a couple from Reverend, there's a PRS, and then kind of got turned on to Eastwood Guitars and the Rivolta line, and I saw this, and it really kind of struck me. One big thing was just kind of the way it looks. It's kind of retro, vintage, futuristic, and that really appealed to me. Another thing that was really important to me was having a humbucker in the bridge, and this does obviously, but it also has a JM style pickup in the neck. So tonal variety is always a good thing, so that made it attractive to me. So it is kind of like, this guitar is like my introduction to baritone, but it's also kind of an introduction to kind of the Jazzmaster offset world. So I have a Strat, I have a bunch of basses, but offsets are like a whole thing. And so that was an introduction for me, and pretty much a deep dive to figure out what's going on with Jazzmasters and offset guitars. So yeah. So if we just look at this, it's has kind of the offset shape. It has the Jazzmaster tremolo, then the bridge, and then the different pickups that I talked about. And then obviously it has I think it's a 28-inch scale, and no rhythm circuit, and then it has switches instead of the three-way toggle switch and the traditional settings, but it does have the volume and tone down here. Yeah, really nice, attractive looking. I think the biggest issue that I had in coming to it was just issues with kind of clankiness and notes not sounding cleanly. And is it me? Is it the fact that I did a setup on it? Did I not do a good setup? Or is it the length? Or is it just that something's off? And in reading about it, my discovery was like, yep, that's what happens with Jazzmasters. It kind of goes with the territory, and something to deal with. Well, I found it really frustrating. So just in trying some different gauges of strings, had trouble with intonation, and had trouble with just kind of getting nice slow action on it, and was really frustrated with that. So in looking around, there's a lot of obviously Jazzmaster replacement bridges, the Mastery bridge, whole bunch of bridges that start kind of in the $30 price range and then get really nice around the $100 and $150 price range and up. So just in looking at all these options, what I decided was I wanted the thing that I had the most confidence in, that whatever it cost, that I was not going to have to get another one. It wasn't going to be a temporary solution. It's like the replacement bridge that I got was going to do what I needed it to do, and it wouldn't like do some things and then have to swap it out later for something else. So so I ended up going with the Tuffset bridge, which seems to be both high quality, have a lot of adjustability, which is attractive to me in terms of the string intonation and the saddle height. But also, they had an option not to just have like the normal the normal movable bridge for jazz masters, where the strings actually are supposed to stick to the bridge, and then when you use the tremolo, the bridge moves back and forth, and then kind of centers when you stop using the trem. This is kind of the other philosophy, where you don't want friction between the strings and the bridge. You want it to be low friction, and then the strings slide across the bridge when you use the tremolo, and then they slide back into place. So it's a low friction system as opposed to a high friction system, and the bridge itself does not move. So that was all very attractive to me. The downside of this is that they come from England. It's beautifully machined, but it cost about $240 when you include it with the tariffs and everything. So that hurts, but in terms of this is like an instrument that I'm planning to have for years and years and years, to play for years and years and years, and anyway, I was able to justify it to myself as being an expense that I wanted to make. So that said, I did have some issues with installing it. The biggest one is that so the old bridge, the Jazzmaster bridge, sits into the body, into these metal thimbles. So, and the thimbles are bigger than the actual bridge posts, and that's so the moving bridge has a little bit of wiggle room, like I was talking about before. But the Tuffset Fixie bridge was designed and actually came with two different sizes of sleeves for both a standard Fender Jazzmaster and the slightly smaller thimble sizes for, I think, Japanese Jazzmaster versions. But this is not a standard Jazzmaster. This is like a Jazzmaster inspired weird hybrid instrument, and it turns out that the bridge thimbles in this guy were even smaller than the small sleeves that came with the Fixie bridge, that came with the Tuffset Fixie. So what I had to do was remove the thimbles that came in here and replace them with Fender Jazzmaster thimbles. So those are a little bit bigger. So I had to drill out very carefully a little bit of wood so that the new thimbles will fit in there. And then once I did that, the installation of the Tuffset Fixie and getting it all intonated and locked down was not a problem. So I'm very happy about that. So that's it. Tuffset Fixie, like I said, it's kind of on the expensive end of things, but I think it's, I don't know if I'd put it on like a $500 instrument, but this clocked more than $1,000. So spending $250 to kind of, I believe, to give it a lot better playability and long-term usability and just kind of like making me want to pick it up and play it more, I think is worth it. So that's about it. Just a couple last things to mention. I would just like to point out that, look at it this way. So this is a set neck, but if you can see, there's a little bit of like an angle on the neck as if it were shimmed. And I think that was kind of the idea, that like the reason that people shim their Jazzmaster necks is to just give a little bit of an angle so you can still have low action but have the bridge be up a little bit higher, so that the neck kind of already does that on this instrument, which is I guess a good thing. And then there's no rhythm circuit, but there are okay, we're going to use switches for things. So we have switches for the two pickups, turn them on. This is a coil split for the humbucker. And then this is in phase, out of phase for when both of the pickups are on, and then tone and volume. So yeah, really nice instrument. Don't seem to be super common, but I sure like it, and that's that. So thanks a lot.